Question: do you expect these guys to produce more? Or
So let's go for number 4 at Volcano Manor.
Welcome to some. This is a wonderful demonstration of what it's like to invade from Australia.
Okay.
I was very confused throughout this entire invasion.
Okay.
It's always annoying when you spawn close enough to the host so that they don't show up on your compass, so you're just kind of guessing what direction they're in.
Yeah.
But after a bit of faffing about initially, I will eventually find them. Just getting stuck on doors and everything. At first, I thought they were coming through the level. I'd hide. I'd surprise them around a corner or something. But it turns out that they were actually above me, and that is something that the compass really is not very good at telling you.
Yeah.
Here I am, just like assuming that they're hiding in some barrel or something or other, but that's not the case.
I've
we
also
probably skip through just a bit.
Yeah, sure. No, I also found out yesterday I had one invasion where they didn't show up on the compass as well, and also Volcano Manor, but it turns out they had the talisman on.
That is clever.
The crouch talisman, and that apparently just removes you from radar unless you're in a certain amount of range. Apparently.
It does. That is exactly how people used to enable roof camping and AFK farming, because you just couldn't find them and you'd have the entire of Limgrave to search through.
Alright, so just... okay, so there we go. So
are.
There's the first hunter.
We finally find a blue. I'm very happy to find literally anyone. I've been feeling very lonely in this invasion so far. Blue was altogether not exactly an optimized build, but, we had some fun.
Yeah.
Briefly.
Usual blue things. And then
finally we have the host. My confusion will start momentarily.
Okay.
Because you saw he did not get hit by any of that. He just walked straight through the flames. And I'm like, okay, maybe I just missed him. Let's try that again.
Okay.
Both of them straight through the flames, nothing at all. I'm just at this point panicking. I'm like, all right, how the hell am I going to fight 2 moon men?
But at least he got the damage.
Before that point, I was like, are they just hitbox cheating? Or is this like, as soon as the damage happened, I knew what I was going to be doing.
Okay. So, yeah, maybe a good point to talk about how to deal with latency, especially stuff like this. Because at this point, it becomes, I found, just 50-50.
Yeah, honestly, in this game, you have to kind of just live with the fact that some phantoms and hosts will just be abhorrently laggy. And you see here, I'm burning as much as I can. I'm applying as much damage. As soon as they start to take damage, I leave. And
he dies.
I wait. Yeah. I wait for it. There we go.
Okay, that was brilliant.
That is Australian internet, and it's awful. I think I looked them up, and they were from somewhere in, I think it was Russia? I don't know.
Okay. No, that was brilliant. So for me, if I run into this situation, and it's from time to time, especially against Chinese players, I found. The thing that bothers me the most is that you cannot go on the stagger of your opponent. So especially, for example, if you do a claymore turn and burn, right? So you hit the person, and then he will stagger and not be able to hit you. But in a situation like this, you will get the hit at some point, like you just did with the flaming strike, but he will not stagger, which allows him to just continue pushing.
Yeah, so, he has that sort of like grace period between when the damage happens and when he actually receives it, where he's essentially immortal, and if he's really aggressive, then he can kill you in that time easily.
Yes. And I had some parries that got delayed 10 seconds or something like that. Quite funny to watch,
I've
actually.
Seen those. That is surreal. Someone just charging towards you and then they're parried out of nowhere when they didn't even swing. There's everyone's standing around going, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, but here you can actually quite see something that I liked about your play style here. So you burn them, and then you know that the stagger won't happen, and you immediately roll away.
And
100%.
I'm using this for damage alone.
Yeah, you keep that in mind, and then it's just get him as much damage, and then I think the finger implodes. Yeah, there is the implosion. 1,200. Did I see that correctly? That's quite funny.
I'm pretty sure he did not have a huge amount of health. Which I'm very lucky about, because goodness gracious, I could not stay in that room any longer. And usually it's a really bad idea to get in a small room with 2 other people, but I needed them to concentrate on me and just get hit by everything I was throwing out.
That's a good keyword. Very fun invasion. Good showcase of the janky netcode in Elden Ring. Or all fronts of games for that matter.
The pain continues.
Yes, let's continue the pain train. And actually that's a good cue there. So this was, I think, 2 streams ago, so I tend to index my streams and then just order them accordingly on my drive. So this is a situation that I get into a lot, and it connects back to the point I tried to make before about how I want to get interesting invasions. So we have 2 guys here. So we have, I think, the Phantom. Actually, Phantom here, and the host is somewhere here. Yeah, and as you can see, they have the Maiden. So, like the instinct of any invader, hey, free meal, let's jump right in. But in this invasion, I was like, no, let's just wait it out. Let them deal with the Maiden, and then you'll see what happens.
Honestly, depending on the kind of enemy, like, you might not want to get in the middle of a host on it, because
fair point. Yeah.
I mean, these things are just an AoE that travels, so I tend to avoid fighting around them if I can. Yeah. There's the one in Volcano Manor, but no. So this is your Dex build, right?
Yeah, still on my Dex build, so I only have Dex build videos today. But
that makes a lot of sense. I was just wondering the Claymore one-handed, because obviously you're not relying on strength, so two-handing it won't really help you unless you're going against a shield.
Exactly, and I just learned this fact on this stream actually. So I was playing around with this setup, and it's quite unusual. And you can now see me like just two-handing the Claymore, because I just think maybe it's just memory from the strength build, but it just used to hit harder.
I mean, that is entirely correct. Honestly, the two-handed moveset for the Claymore is enough to do so even if you're not getting the strength bonus. But with the offhand clean rod like you've got there, that's a really good option just to finish up those last little bits of health.
Yeah, and here I just went all in, and I think it was late as well, so I wasn't at my best. I eat a lot of hits, and I just went in guns blazing, and it doesn't turn out that well, but you will see at the end.
Sometimes you can really only do aggression. Like where you are currently in a little pit with 2 people, you're going to have to keep fighting, or you're going to have a really hard retreat, because there's just rocks and debris all over the floor of these tunnels. Every mine is a death trap.
Yeah, and here you can basically only go to the ladder. There is no way out, so it's just a
that was fight. a nice Waves of Darkness, by the way. Keeping an eye on both of them and taking your opportunities when they arise.
Yeah, I tend to whiff those a lot, especially because I do them too early.
Yeah, I get that. It's hard to judge timing sometimes, especially when it's on an unknown amount of latency.
Yeah, and there you saw the unlocked unsheath that didn't hit as well. So yeah.
Unsheath is surprisingly hard to hit with the heavy, I will say. I've only just started using it in my Dex build, and goodness gracious, it does a lot of damage, but it is a surprisingly fiddly thing to aim.
Yeah.
It also has a surprisingly small amount of range, considering.
Yeah, so here I just tried to go for the trade.
That did not work out.
No. Still survived somehow. No idea why I'm alive there.
That is a ballsy move to go for the Thunderbolt there, because...
Yeah, and here I got the Phantom range.
That is sad. And the teabag is
and
not
the nice
warranted.
teabag. Yeah, well, that was a close one, but I still enjoyed the shit out of that one because
that was a good invasion. It reminds me a lot of like the other people that I watch. Like people tend to have different preferences between passive play and really really active pressure play. I think there was a stream a while ago. No, not a stream. A video a while ago where I think it was one of Chase the Bros actually, where he's in Dark Souls 3. He's invading the library, whatever it's called. And he's looking at a gank squad near the Grace. He's sort of peeking out through the door, and then on the side of his screen you just see Ouroboros just spear ahead, running full pelt into the middle. 4 seconds later he is dead. And yet I feel like he would still be quite happy with that. I do not see someone like Ouroboros actually going well with the patient sort of what's the word, attrition tactics that I tend to go for. A lot of my more interesting invasions cap over 10 minutes simply because I'm content to wait for a lot of things to become better circumstances. Yeah. That does also play with, like, as you mentioned, you want interesting invasions, so I don't spend too much time waiting if I can, but it's also not interesting just to walk into a blender. So
yeah, definitely. So, and it's always this, especially at the beginning, and I think I'll have a clip for that for the next invasion to talk about this, but it's at the beginning, it's always trying to feel out the group that you're facing, right? See how much health do they run.
What their attitude is most important, I feel. Yeah. Like half the time when you find someone, they've got a huge, great setup, it's completely meta, but they're really cautious about you and they're just sort of keeping their distance, and that is the easiest kind of invasion to finish.
Yeah, yeah, completely. So yeah, that's that
Can
invasion.
Can we actually go quickly back to the point where you... where you finally get on that last bit of health that you were on.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's there that I really... Yeah, when you were... when you got hit from down here. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so here I should have unlocked, but yeah, it still worked out.
Yeah, I mean, like, the unlock would be nice, but essentially, like, that was a really, really nice play.
Yeah, nice trade as well. Chunked quite some health from the guy.
I mean, it's ballsy to trade at all like that, but it's this particular point where I was honestly really impressed at how you were managing your zoning. Because you sort of run rings around the host while you're focusing on the Phantom, and the host just kind of orbits you in the exact directions that you're wanting, because he's just mindlessly running at you. And the Phantom is the more dangerous one, because that setup is obviously the easier to hit you with in this kind of circumstance, and it's just unfortunate that he got you. You're doing a bunch of really good sort of switching targets and keeping them both unaware of who your next target is, and I feel like that's probably the best play in this sort of tiny room big aggression fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I at the beginning, when I started invading, I made the mistake, and you probably all know this, that you try to make it more challenging for yourself. So I could have gone for the host from the beginning and just focus on him and just win the invasion. But I like the game of, okay, let's kill the Phantoms first and then save the host for last, like a good meal or something like that.
That is exactly how I try and do it. It's really boring just to appear and only essentially fight one person. Yeah. The only time that it's like, you know, it's still an interesting fight where you also go for the host immediately is when it's essentially like 2-3 casters, and you can really only end the fight as soon as possible, because you're never not fighting all people at once because they're ranged.
Yeah, and so at the beginning I tended to focus on one Phantom, but then I found that the people start picking up on your patterns, that you just, he's just hitting my Phantom, so I can just try to roll catch him and don't have to be afraid. They get into that kind of mentality.
Yeah, they figure you out and they become confident.
Yeah, and then, so just whack them from time to time so they know, hey...
Just make sure there's a zone of danger constantly surrounding you.
Don't try anything funny, or you'll eat it anyway, no matter if you're host or Phantom. Yeah,
I've seen you exploit that in this one as well, though. I think there was a degree of it in my other one in Lindell as well, where by focusing a Phantom, you sort of intentionally give the host that overconfidence and they rush forward, and then you can switch your attention directly to them.
Yes.
They have to backpedal.
Exactly. All right.
That was nice.
Yeah. Anything else? So then we move on to the next one.
That's pretty much it.